So doing high reps doesn't necessarily build endurance. In a way it does, but as many subjects that I talk about on my page, there's a lot of nuance that go into it. So let's get into it. So what is high reps? You know, everybody has their own arbitrary number of what they believe high reps are. But in the Lion Strong Fusion Training Method, which is right here, and in the philosophy in and of itself, I'm a big proponent of training to failure. Okay? Now, with that said, I believe in that because I want to make sure that the presence of time under tension is always involved. Okay? It just so happens that the longer you can extend a set while doing maximal effort, that's the key, guys. The longer I can extend a set while doing maximal effort, it's going to allow me to get the most benefit. Now, here's the thing. I believe that things always start from the top down. Number one is strength. Okay, you should always be doing movements and training in a capacity where the objective is to get stronger. Okay, because if you're not getting stronger, you're not able to do more repetitions with a heavier or a more challenging workload. Okay, so if you're doing the same weight and you're not in other words, if you're doing something that doesn't require you to give as much effort, what happens is you're going to start to plateau, which is what most people experience. They plateau because they're not doing something that requires them to give as much effort. Okay? Now, because you're focused on building strength, and because you're trying to make sure that you're pushing to failure, which stimulates muscle tissue, muscle mass, by default, you're going to build endurance. Okay, that's the third tier. So with that said, guys, you can do a bunch of repetitions, but if you're not accomplishing those two things, then you're limiting yourself. In other words, you're going to plateau because the body's not receiving more of an incentive to want to increase wherever it is currently. So guys, that's why I always talk about these concepts, and that's why in my Lion Strong Fusion training series, I'm a big proponent of making sure that you're satisfying all three. But here's the cool part. Because when you do things properly, because when you follow something that has the structure, that has all those principles and those intangibles in place, it just so happens that your workouts usually take under 30 minutes. As they always say, you can train hard or you can train long, but you can never, I mean never, do both.